All right, I'm so excited to be here today with Cara, Aiden's wife. I'm so happy to be doing this recipe with you.
Me too.
Because this is your own recipe.
Yes.
And I'm
super excited. Though we've kicked Aiden out of the kitchen, no doubt that he'll be back when this is ready.
Absolutely.
For consumption. So today we are going to be making my so-called infamous chopped herring. And we're going to start with chopping the herring. Now you can see that we bought ready-made pickled fish, which they actually roll mops. And I actually prefer them, Kristen, to regular pickled fish because they've got the little bits of gherkin and onion, and that really gives it a nice acidic flavor that you need. Right, let's sanitize our hands and then we'll get into it.
Great.
I feel like this is becoming second nature.
Absolutely.
Everyone's doing it.
Here we go. Perfect.
Awesome.
Right, what are we going to do with our pickled herring?
Okay, so how we're going to start is we will take the little toothpicks out, and we won't be using the gherkins or the onions.
Okay.
You want to grab hold of that one. So we won't be using the gherkins or the onions. We'll just unroll it and we'll discard these little extra bits. And then we're going to start by chopping it. So I don't know if you guys at home have made chopped herring before, but one of my pet peeves with chopped herring is if the fish is chopped too fine.
Okay.
Almost like all the flavors get intermixed and then it's kind of like you're eating a fish paste. So I like mine a little bit more chunky, and I think that's kind of one of the secrets to why it's so delicious. So as a recipe, what did you think when I sent this to you? Did you think I was crazy? Have you ever made anything like this before?
I had never made anything like this before, and I'd never ever tried a roll mop before.
Oh wow.
This was the first time I'd done it.
Okay, and what did you think?
It was great, and how it pairs with the kichel is out of this
They're
world.
a match made in heaven,
absolutely.
right? For sure. Okay, I'll just get rid of this.
There we go.
While Kristen is chopping, we're going to move on to the next part of the recipe, and that is soaking the matzo in a kiddish grape juice. Now, I don't know if you've had kiddish juice before. Kristen, I'm sure you have. It is a very sweet sort of flavor, and it complements the pickled fish so well. It really balances the acidity of that fish quite well. So we're just going to soak this matzo for a good 10 minutes or so until it's quite soft. The nice thing about this recipe is because we're using matzo and not breadcrumbs, it's kosher for Passover, so that's a great bonus. And while that is soaking, we'll just go over and show you our egg. So we're boiling an egg, and we're looking for a hard boil on that, so about 7 minutes, is that about right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we'll let that boil. A nice tip that I learned from someone is to add some vinegar to the pot, and it really makes the eggshell so easy to peel. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, that's a good tip.
That herring is looking fantastic.
There we go.
So as you can see, it's quite a rough chop, not too fine. We want it to be quite textural. So should we add that to this bowl?
Okay. Okay.
That's great. You can smell it's quite an acidic, still quite acidic, but we're going to balance that now with some sugar as well. And this is still good to soak for a little while. So we can move on to grating an apple. I'm going to give you that, John.
There we go.
Now we're using a red apple because it's something that we had in the cupboard, right?
That's right.
You can also use a green apple.
Would you like it to be peeled or grated with the skin on?
I usually peel it.
Okay.
And then I do quite a thick grate, so on this sort of setting.
Okay, perfect. I'll get onto that.
Again, that's just to keep the texture really nice and rough so that when you take the dip, you have a bite of fish, a little bite of the sweet apple, you know, not this whole mush where you taste nothing. And so I think it's important to keep the texture quite rough.
With this, you can also use a vegetable peeler. You don't have to use the paring knife.
That's a good tip. Kristen, what was Zach's favorite recipe to cook?
Zach loved the pavlova, which also happens to be one of your recipes.
Coincidentally. And it's also really an amazing recipe for Passover because there's no flour in it. So yeah, pavlova. We're hoping for maybe a second Passover, Pesach Sheni, where we can have those ingredients available and we can celebrate a proper Passover.
Yeah.
That'll be amazing. You know, the amazing thing about grated apple is you actually use it in a Passover dish as well at the Seder that you have. And that is called charoset. Now, each element on the Passover table has a different symbol. And the symbol of charoset is that even though the Jews were slaves in Egypt, you eat the sweet apple because God promised that there would be redemption. And I think in a time where we're all feeling like slaves to our home and maybe slaves to our children, I think it's really important to have a good attitude and know that there's a hope for redemption.
Can't go at the moment.
Yes.
So this is a great activity to do with your kids, that it's fine motor skills.
Awesome.
And so what they'll do is that they can peel the egg, and you'll see that it's as they peel, it's like fine little movements.
That is
and
awesome.
that really stimulates fine motor skills. So it's just an activity you can do with your kids, an everyday activity that really is beneficial.
And it's a nice thing to do because we're all stuck at home together.
Exactly.
Why not get the kids involved? I'm going to get that grated for you. So while Kristen is peeling that egg, we can have a look at our matzo, and you can see that it's absorbed quite a lot of the grape juice and it's soft to the touch. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw away the excess grape juice and just pick up this matzo. You can see it's quite pliable. And then I'm just going to place it on the board, and then I'm going to chop it quite finely.
For the egg, we will grate it on the fine side.
That's perfect. Thank you. So again, with this matzo, a rough chop is perfect because it's quite soft and you don't want it to be too soggy. You actually want to have a little bit of a crunch from that matzo. So I'm just going to roughly chop this. No art to it, really. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Another nice thing about this dish is that you can actually freeze it in batches.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so there we've got our roughly chopped matzo. I'm just going to add that to the bowl.
Very good.
And soon we'll get to the point where we just mix it all together and enjoy it on some challah bread. Okay, do you want to add that egg? That egg looks so beautiful with the white and yellow.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Okay, now the last few ingredients, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of white wine vinegar.
Okay, which will also add a beautiful acidity and balance it out.
And again, this is quite a nice vinegar because it's not too acidic, not like an apple cider, or it really just adds another dimension to that. So there we go. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of sugar. White sugar is pretty good for this. There we go. And once we've mixed it, we'll just season it with some salt.
Okay. I'm going to grab a spatula for you.
Great, thank you. I mean, this recipe took us all of 10 minutes to make. I think the longest part of it is waiting for the egg to boil. So this is a great recipe.
What's great about adding the vinegar as well, you'll find that the apple isn't going to discolor.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
So it's the enzyme in the apple won't make it
Amazing.
go brown.
That's fantastic. I didn't even know that. I thought it was for flavor. An added little bonus. Okay, cool. So Kristen, I don't know if you just want to season that for us, please.
Let's add some pepper.
So you're just mixing this really to combine it until you can see egg, apple, matzo, and fish all the way through the mixture. And I'll just keep stirring as Kristen is seasoning.
Is the fish very salty?
Let me taste. I think it's actually very good to taste because it varies so much.
In the recipe book, I made the baked herring.
Oh, yes.
And you actually have to soak the fish overnight to be able to remove the salt. So
I think this can do with a little bit of salt.
Great.
That's perfect.
There we go.
And then what I'm going to do is actually add this last little bit of the kiddish grape juice. And then we'll give it one last mix and we are good to go. All right. Should we garnish it?
Absolutely. Shall we use some dill?
Yes.
Perfect.
I know in the Friedman household, it is not a Shabbos dinner if there isn't chopped herring. It's a staple. Awesome, that looks great. I actually like to serve it with some cucumber as well, just to bring it like some freshness and lightness. So that on kichel or on challah is delicious.
Beautiful.
Should we get Aiden in here to taste? Should we slice up some challah? Or do you want it on a kichel?
I think we can have this on some kichel, personally.
Okay, cool.
Do we have any sugar biscuits?
Yeah, we do.
Awesome. First of all, you are a natural.
No way.
Absolutely.
You two look spectacular on camera. I don't know what I'm doing in the program. I'm going to take a little bit of this. This looks sensational.
Grab
this
that
is one of my favorite things that Cara makes. I'm going to load it up with some chopped herring.
Get all that goodness.
I've heard that faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word.
What's the verdict? That's a full mouth. Okay, it's making you dance. That's a good sign. That's kind of what we're after.
Herring makes me dance.
Is it good?
It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Well done.
Thank you. All right, everyone, there you have it, my traditional herring that you can find in the cookbook. The nice thing about this herring is that it goes so well with challah, if it's a regular Shabbos night. But during Passover, it is delicious on a kosher for Passover kichel. So either way, you can enjoy it.
Brilliant.